Hey, I have returned from the land beyond beyond, which is in this time New York City.
New York City!
And before I go over the book hauls and the swag hauls, I mentioned that I had a little Godzilla figure that I could put inside the Coliseum there. So there he is. He's in his little nest, and he's going to stay there for a little bit. All right, so book hauls and swag hauls from the two bookstores that I visited in New York City. The first was the Twisted Spine over in Brooklyn, and I'd never been to Brooklyn, but I ventured out on Friday afternoon and went in, and because it was a horror themed bookstore, I'm like, I gotta go, I gotta check this out, and it was everything I had hoped and more. The inventory was mind-boggling. There was so much there that I just did not know existed because specialty bookstores like this don't exist anymore. And on the internet, if you don't know what you're looking for, you're not going to find it. But I found some stuff that was really, really cool. And I'm going to start off with the swag before I get to the books. Because of the way I am, I bought some stickers. So I got a Twisted Spine sticker there. I got this little heart, ghosts making a heart. I think I can put that in there. Yeah, there you go. I think it gets in there. And of course, jack-o'-lantern because I am a permanent resident of the October country. And then there was these two that I really like. This one is like, this one is Spooky Juice, the little card there. And then finally, a summer reading sticker for scary ghost stories. So that was really cool. They also had a scented candle on sale, and they told me this was the last one they had. And so it was an impulse buy. It was probably a little on the expensive side, but it was the obsession themed scented candle from the movie. So this one here is a warm, intimate scent that feels instantly familiar. Light this pheromone-inspired candle to experience comfort and closeness, the kind that's easy to fall for. Light at your own risk. Pheromonal warmth may cause lingering thoughts, fixation, and obsession. So yeah, smells good. It says on there, it says, smells like you. So I will have this lit over in my little reading nook at some point. But I'm currently working through another scented candle, and this one's going to have to wait a little bit. But yeah, now book-wise, the you know I don't know if I'm going to cut away to the videos that I took of the store or just kind of like overlay them on this video. I haven't decided yet. Okay, post-production chat. I'm just going to cut to a video. But I got four books. I don't want that to fall over. From the Twisted Spine. First up, from Titan Books, so quickly becoming one of my favorite publishers, is a Solomon Kane novel by Sean Hamill, who evidently, I think he wrote, yeah, he's looks like he wrote some Conan books, but the guy behind the counter said this one was really good. He really liked it, and I love Solomon Kane. I read I have it, I have the complete Solomon Kane stories on my Kindle, and I don't have a physical copy yet. I should get one, but they're probably pricey. But I was like, yeah, I'm gonna read this. This looks cool. So Solomon Kane's Suffer the Witch. It says Puritan, fiend, fanatic, Solomon Kane. Yeah, in the wake of several grisly murders, Solomon Kane has been summoned to Windsend, England, to determine a woman's guilt. Is Sybil Easty a witch? And is she behind these gruesome crimes? And yeah, shenanigans ensue. I'll be reading this one shortly. I'll probably be reading this one this year. I usually joke about it's going to take me 10 years to get to a book, between now and 2036, but I think there's a very good possibility that I'll read this before Christmas. Um, so I'll put you over there. Another one, it was in the same, this was actually the first book that I grabbed. And it was over in their Native American or Indigenous people section. They had them all like cosmic horror, science fiction, dark fantasy, gothic literature. They had them all, you know, all over the place. It was like, and it was all horror, nothing else. Well, there was some dungeon crawler Carl there, but those things sell like hotcakes. So bookstore's going to stock that. And honestly, they have monsters, so I'm going to just give them a pass on that. I would stock it myself. But this one is called Sisters of the Lost Nation, and it's by Nick Medina, and who is a member of oof, the Tunica Biloxi tribe of Louisiana. And this, the here in the back, it says here that Anna Horn is constantly looking over her shoulder for the bullies who torment her, for the entitled visitors at the reservation's casino, and for the nameless, disembodied entity that stalks her every step. An ancient tribal myth come to life, one intent on devouring her whole. I mean, I read that first paragraph of the synopsis sales pitch. I'm like, this is so my jam. So that was the first book that stapled itself to my hand. The Solomon Kane one was the second. And I went over around a couple of tables. They had a queer fiction table and they had an indie table. And from the indie table, I picked up The Wilds by Julia Tuelis. Tuelis. I watched the interview with her on the Book Graveyard, and this was one that has been on my radar wish list, and that I could buy it at an independent bookstore and support both independent press and an independent bookstore. Well, that was just a win-win in my book. So I was able to pick this up, and yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this. It sounds fascinating. And then there was this one that I was out in the front, and it's a comedy, a satire. People kind of like misjudge satires. They think satires are meant to be funny, but satire is is a weird thing. Sometimes it's laugh out loud funny, and sometimes it's just like it's not. You know, it's a weird satire is a weird bird. Um, but anyway, this is called Brocula, and it's about a vampire that's fallen on hard times and has is creating a multi-level marketing campaign that involves vampirism. And reading it sounded funny, and it also reminded me there was I believe, an episode of Angel where there was a vampire who had a multi-level marketing scheme. So I remember that episode. I think it's from like, might have been from the first season even. I don't know. You know, I don't know if Wesley was in it or not, but Wesley Wyndham Price. Uh, and yeah, I just had a brain fart there. But that was the fourth book and final book that I got there. And while I was talking with well, actually, I stopped also and got because they have a coffee bar. I got a poison apple latte, which was delicious. And I spoke with the guy behind the counter, and then I think the cashier, and she may have been the manager, but she noticed I was wearing my Haunted Mansion T-shirt, and she talked with me about it for a little bit, and we were all talking about this, that, and the other thing. And she told me that down the block, I had passed it on the way to the store. I'd seen it and it had registered. Was this outlet called Night Owl Video, and it's like one of the last video stores in the country. And it's attempting to. I think it opened last year, 2025, and they're attempting to bring back good old-fashioned video stores. And so I dropped by there and I looked around and I was like, I've got to get something because they had everything there. And a lot of it was horror too. It was, but they had like two whole, cases filled with Criterion discs, which are what I bought. But then there was ones from like Kino Lorber, Vinegar Syndrome, Scream Factory, Arrow. There was all of this stuff, and it was really overwhelming. I was just like, uh, and there was this woman with a camera hanging around in the store. She walks up to me and she says, "Excuse me." I'm like, "Yes." And she's like, "I'm with the Wall Street Journal, and we're doing a piece on this store, and I'm taking, photographs. Would you mind if if I was taking photographs if you were in them?" And I was like, "No, not at all. Go right ahead." And so she came up and she talked to me a couple of times, asked me if I was looking for anything in particular, which I really wasn't. I said there were a couple of titles. I was thinking, well, if maybe they have like some genre in, maybe they have Fascination available on Blu-ray. I know it's available on Blu-ray, but maybe they have it here. I'll buy it. And they didn't have it, but they had a whole bunch of other stuff, and there was one that I was like, "Ooh, that's on the Criterion. That's on the Criterion collection. I got to get that." But yeah, it was interesting because the woman behind the counter, who I think is the owner, I was chatting with her while I was making my purchases, and she said that a lot of people who had liquidated their collections during the digital craze are coming back and rebuilding their libraries. And I'm like, yeah. And this was a conversation that I actually had with the owner of Berkshire Books and in Concord, my local used bookstore. That he said the same thing. There are people coming in now that they regretting selling the records, selling everything, because there's just like it's not the same. And we have a big switch. We're having a minor, I don't know if it's a major, but we're definitely having a trend towards some individuals collecting that in the younger generation, in the Zoom generation, excuse me, getting physical media. So the I got two Criterion Collection discs. The first up was one that I sought out because it's Videodrome, and I wanted this. I've been wanting this for a while. It's been one that I've been thinking about getting, and I was there, independent store. I want to support independent stores, and I was just like, yeah, I'll buy this definitely. And the one that made me go, "Ooh, this is in the Criterion Collection," was Godzilla versus Beyonce. I was like, "Oh, I got to get this one." This is like, it's basically Godzilla versus Audrey 2. I mean, it's not Audrey 2. It's a hybrid of a girl's spirit and a mutated giant rose. I don't know really, but yeah, I've like I'll probably be watching this very, very soon because I haven't seen it in years. And so I got those at Night Owl Video in Brooklyn, which is on the same block as the Twisted Spine. And both establishments I recommend wholeheartedly. You should go there if you're in New York. The other thing, we have a friend that for Christmas and for my birthday gave me gift certificates for the Strand Bookstore, which is over by, I believe it's Union Square, and we went for right next door. Forbidden Planet is comics is just down the block from them. Didn't make it into Forbidden Planet comics, but Max Brenner's is right across the street. It's like a chocolatier restaurant, and that's where we went and had brunch and s'more sundae, which is like our go-to dessert. But before we went over there, I went hog wild. In fact, I sent when Tanya says how I texted me because she went over to the cafe that uh, Strand Bookstore has and had a hibiscus tea while I was wandering around the store. She's like, "How's it going?" And I had to send her a picture. I'm like, "Oh my God." She's like, "You need a cart." And I did. I had brought a bag. I had my little got chibi Godzilla bag that I carry around for bookstores and whatnot. But I had way too many things. So the first thing is I got a bag to hold the additional purchases in. And this 18 miles of books, the Strand Bookstore. And this is, you can see it's got cats and books and a fire. I mean, this is basically this. It looks like a kind of like an Edward Gorey um, piece. I don't know who did it, but I don't know if it says on here. But yeah, this is a this is one I'm going to love for a while. But book-wise, first two vintage paperbacks. They didn't have a lot of vintage paperbacks. They did have a rare books floor, but I didn't go up there because I was like, I'm like, last thing I need is to be like seduced by like $50 vintage paperbacks or something. I'm not gonna do that. There was plenty I found out and about the store. Um, First up, I'm gonna go. I got another Alan Dean Foster, and this is With Friends Like These, which is an anthology um, uh, of short stories by Foster, and the cover art's by Michael Whelan, and that is Michael Whelan. It's kind of like a self-portrait. He put himself in there, and yeah, looking forward to reading that. I think I had a copy of this when I was a kid, but I don't really remember that it was published in '77, so probably not. And then there was a book I remembered seeing and really being very intrigued by it, but never reading it because I couldn't tell if it was a horror novel or not. It definitely had a fantastical element to it. And this one, it is called The Second Son, It's basically a story about a man named Joseph Turner who is a young construction worker who rescues an imperiled coworker trapped on a swaying iron girder 24 stories high, only to slip and plummet to the pavement below. Horrified onlookers are astonished, and the world is stunned by what happens next because Turner evidently gets up and shakes it off. And so, right, goes here. This is described by uh, on the back cover here as an astounding adventure, a romance of tenderness and passion, a spiritual thriller that spans time and the world. The Second Son is all these, and above all, gripping edge of the chair entertainment. And it is soon to be an MGM motion picture, which I'm sure, since this book was published in 1979, should be coming out anytime now. Because I don't think any film adapted from this book was ever, ever released, or any film adapted from this book was ever released. But that's The Second Son. This is one that has actually been on my, this is one I'll probably read sometime between now and 2036. But it's I'm glad I got it. When I saw it, I was like, they have it. I love those moments when I find something. I go, you know. Of course, I can startle people next to me, like, oh, there's this big guy, and he goes, he's like, what's going on? Um, a a chuckle-inducing um, um, impulse buy because I saw the cover illustration, and I saw the tag, and I was just like, I think I'm gonna read this, and I even showed it to Tanya, and Tanya's like, I want to read it. So hold on, hold on. This is bromantasy. I love it. It's just like two heroes, one brain cell, and it's yeah. The thing back here, it's like dummies to lovers. This book contains dummies to lovers. There was only one bed. And it's like, oh, there's only one bed. We're going to have to share it. Oops, we accidentally adopted a kid, and I need to eat some cheese about this. But it's yeah but it's got monsters and these two guys that go on a these two bros that go on a quest and they have a bromance, literally, of course, because bromantasy. But it's just, it sounded really cute. So I'm going to give it a try, and I like the art, bro. I didn't know why it's just like, oh my god, it reminds of me of that. Oh, that animated movie that Kenneth Branagh and somebody else did, the Road to El Dorado. That is like, yes, yes, reminded me of that meme, and I was like, okay. This is one I didn't realize how much it was until after I had purchased it, but I decided to get it anyway because it's an omnibus of the official novelizations for the first two Godzilla MonsterVerse movies. The one from 2014, directed by Gareth Edwards, and the one from 2019, directed by Michael Dougherty. And this is my favorite MonsterVerse Godzilla movie. I love this movie. I think I saw it 4 times, 3 or 4 times its opening weekend. I went and saw it, and I took Tanya to see it, and then I took Christopher to see it. And then I think I might have gone and seen. Oh, no, and I saw it again because they had a Godzilla festival at the Balboa Theater in San Francisco, and Dougherty was actually there for the Q&A. And I got I think my trick or treat official home companion. I got him to autograph that. But these are the two novelizations. Godzilla is by Greg Cox, and Greg Keyes wrote Godzilla, King of the Monsters. And this is one I don't know when I'll get to it. Um, but I have both of the movies. I have both on Blu-ray. And yeah, yeah, if you hate them, fine. I don't care, man. But I enjoyed both of these movies for, they're very different takes on Godzilla. They're very much in spirit of how the Japanese films are. I mean, the first one's kind of serious and that, and you don't see a lot of Godzilla, but and then the second one is just a big comic book cartoon that's just like 90% like monster fights. I'm like, it's got King Ghidorah. I mean, come on, Ghidorah and Rodan. So yeah, I want to thank Jeff at Jeff's Cave of Cool Books for this because I saw this and I thought I'm gonna get it. And this is a um, the Little Sparrow Murders, and it is a Kosuke Kindai, Kindaichi mystery. And I mean, I'm just like he goes. Evidently, he goes off to Onakobe, expecting a peaceful mountain retreat, but finds death stalking him at every turn. Uh, as the scruffy sleuth investigates, the murders continue with a sinister, stoop old woman appearing before every new death. So I'm like, all right, cool. I was like, I'll read this. These sound good, and yeah. So the Little Sparrow Murders. Um, that I got there. This was one that has been on my wish list, bucket list, I mean, for years. But I wound up, it's unavailable in paperback, but I wound up, they had it hardback. But this is Julie Salomon's book, The Devil's Candy, which is about the making of The Bonfire of the Vanities, which was a huge flop in the 90s. It was one of those movies that was kind of like Heaven's Gate, where it just spiraled out of control with one, um, uh, an adaptation of a best-selling novel starring Tom Hanks and Bruce Willis and Melanie Griffith. And I did see part of it, and it did not look good. But I understand that this is a really like warts and all behind the scenes look at the chaos and an out of control production. And so, yeah, it goes like this: is Dominic Dunn, who wrote An Inconvenient Woman and People Like Us. He said, Julie Salomon has written Without Wickedness, a devastating account of the multiplicity of wrong decisions, as well as brilliant portraits of the wrong decision makers that led to the cinematic devastation of Tom Wolfe's remarkable novel. It's just like directed by Brian De Palma, but yeah, one of his work for hires, and yeah, this is one that's like, yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that. And they had all three, but I only got the first one. They had a volume of um, Welcome to Night Vale scripts. Um, these are this is volume one. Excuse me. Mostly void, partially stars. And again, I was like 10 years ago, maybe. Um, I I was I was like just a rabid listener to Welcome to Night Vale. I've got the books and I went and saw like some of the live performances, but I think the last live performance I saw was in 2017, and that was Ghost Stories. And I have the shirt. I bought the shirt at the show, and I was actually at Disneyland uh, walking walking by the haunted mansion and appropriately enough, or between Pirates of the Caribbean and the haunted mansion, and this random woman's walking by, and she just looked to them and she goes, "All hail, all it's all hail the glow cloud." So I will enjoy reading those because they're just the scripts for the the episodes. Um, One last book, and this is another one from Titan Books, who published the Solomon Kane one. This one is really good. It is Creepshow, From Script to Screen, and this is basically the making of the um, TV show, the Shutter television show, not the films. And yeah, there's but with some great comic illustrations and whatnot. And I'm this is one that again I might probably wind up uh, reading this before Christmas or before the New Year because I did really enjoy the show. I think it only lasted 4 seasons, but and while it may not have had that unique energy and zest to it that the Romero King film from 1982 had, um, it was still as good as what they did with Tales from the Dark Side and Monsters. It was the same kind of, it was Laurel Group and Greg Nicotero was behind it, and they did some really great episodes that or segments that I really liked. And it's got monsters, man. I'm just like, yeah, it's a creep show. So I saw that, and this was one that I would have just if I only had one gift certificate, I would have looked at the price. I didn't look at the price. Always look at the price. This was $35 but it's a coffee table book, and this and one more item, which was swag. I saw this. They had a whole table of New Yorker magazine cover puzzles, and they had this one, which is Bodega Cat, and I'll get that down there so that the glare is up there. But that that is Sam right there, as how he looked when he was sleeping, and how he would sometimes just open his eye. Look, I was just like, oh my God, I just like, yeah. If I don't get anything else, I'm getting this. This was I could not pass up, and so this will be in an assembly video sometime this year. But yeah, they evidently, I guess they're doing like all of the New Yorker covers, but this is Bodega Cat, cover by R. Kikuro Johnson. Kikuo, Kikuo, Kikuo Johnson. So there you go. And I think that's it, folks. That's it. I'm gonna go now. I'm kind of like low energy because I got jet lag, but I got all this stuff, and I really wanted to share it. So until next time, let's all try to have some fun, okay? Bye. Enough is never enough.